Welcome back to the right place. I'm here with Tim Donnelly, hopefully our next governor of California. Tim, thanks for coming in.
Oh, John, it's great to be on.
Give us a little about your background, or let people know actually who you are.
Well, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, grew up mostly in Michigan, and I'm a transplant to California. I guess you could call me an immigrant. And I came out here to go to college, finished my degree. I'd started it at Michigan, and couldn't find a job, so I wound up getting in business with my father, and within a decade started my own business in manufacturing. I'm married. I've got 5 kids.
Wow.
And a grandson. Oh, by the way, all boys. And you know, I got involved in politics in 2010 because you know there's a point in life where you realize they aren't going to fix it
Correct.
because there is no they. We are they.
So, how long have you been in politics?
Well, I was elected in 2010, which really means you start in December. You really start working
In the assembly.
in the assembly from the 59th district, which is one of the most gerrymandered in the state. I was elected by walking door to door and connecting with people, and really standing up and taking strong stances on issues that people didn't want to talk about.
Correct. So, you know, with the state of California in the situation we're in right now, where we're over-regulated, overtaxed, losing people out of the state, businesses, why in the world would we want you to jump into this race?
I'll tell you what this campaign's about. This campaign is real simple. It's a campaign for liberty. We've got a government that wants to tax us into submission. And if they can't tax us into submission, they want to regulate us into submission. And people respond to market forces because of the insane level of regulation, many of which don't even accomplish the purposes for which they claim they're trying to do. We've driven a record number of businesses out of our state. But when, you know, people hear businesses and they think, well, I'm not a business owner, so how does it affect me? Well, what we've really done is we've driven capital out of our state. And capital is necessary to create jobs. It's not the government's job to create jobs. The private sector does that. And the private sector does that in response to the market. When you have a friendly business climate, capital prospers, and you know, you grow and you expand, and then in order to grow and expand, you need to hire more people, so you create jobs. Well, jobs are being created in the United States of America. They're just not being created in California. Most of the companies here would prefer to add employees at locations out of state. In many cases, they're starting up new sectors of their business, and they're doing all of it out of state, even though we have tremendous natural resources here. And our greatest natural resource are our people. We have a willing, ready workforce. We've got terrific weather. We've got the best topography you could want, from incredible, beautiful oceans to majestic mountains and vast stretches of the most fertile farmland in the world. And yet, the biggest impediment is our biggest and fastest growing industry, which is government. Government has become the greatest threat to your family's future, to your education, to your livelihood, to your freedom, to your faith. Just this week, or just last week, the governor signed a bill that has really got a lot of people upset, and it has nothing to do with business. It's AB 1266 that's going to allow the boys to go into the girls' bathroom at school. Well, what's that going to do to the educational climate? Now that you've put in place a massive distraction, and you're probably going to have a lot of the kids are going to be taken out of the schools. And, you know, I think when you look at the priorities that this legislature and this governor have put in place, they don't match the priorities of the average Californian. And I think that's why a lot of people will support me.
Well, let me ask you this. How in the world do you stop this huge ship that's going? I mean, how do you slow it down and stop it and reverse some of this crazy stuff that's going on? I mean, this is a huge undertaking for you to stop, what, 20 years of liberal stuff that's been going on in this state? It's crazy.
Well, one person can't stop it, but one voice can make a huge difference. And when you take a look at, just take high-speed rail. There's been one person in the legislature who has repeatedly, over and over and over again, gone after the lies and the misrepresentations of high-speed rail, relentlessly putting the facts and the truth out there, doing interview after interview after interview, putting the facts into a one-page document so everybody gets it. And now you've got a judge who says and acknowledges that we didn't get what we voted for. Well, that's huge. And it's all because one person refused to give up. And that's one of my colleagues, Assemblywoman Diane Harkey. So that really encouraged me. And I've been out there fighting. And you might think, well, you're fighting alone in a committee room. But there's times when you pick a fight and you pick the right fight, and then the moment is perfect, and you're able to expose them because there's television cameras there, and then you've got them. And they can't. The other day, I proposed an amendment to a bill that was supposedly about public corruption, but they had exempted the school systems. Well, we all know the school systems were used to illegally lobby for Prop 30. They were terrifying the teachers were terrifying the parents. If you don't vote for Prop 30, we're going to shut the schools down, and we're only going to be operating 4 days a week, and you're going to have to hire a babysitter, and it's going to be a huge tax on you. And they were relentless. Well, that's an illegal use of state resources. I know this because I ran a measure, a referendum to repeal the DREAM Act. So I exposed this in this committee room on one bill. The very next bill that came up, they had exempted the education establishment. And so I made an amendment. Well, they had to accept it because it was right on camera, and they couldn't say no. So there's a lot that we can do if we don't give up, but we're never going to succeed unless we take that attitude. Never, never, ever, ever give up, and therefore you can't be defeated.
Listen, we're going to take a short break here, and we'll be right back. Don't go away.
You got it.